Hello everyone, how's it going? BigLT here. Welcome back to another food review. And today we're doing s'moreos. Yeah, it's a pun. S'mores and s'moreos, or Oreos. Yesterday, Parker was here. We were recording the Genshin episode. And before she left, she was like, "Can I have one?" And I was like, "What about your thing?" Because she's trying to stay away from sugary stuff. Yeah, that smells like s'mores. But she told me she was staying away from sugar stuff. She's not on a diet as far as I know. She's just not eating sugar-related foods. So that's why I'm doing these Oreos solo. And I did the cupcake solo and the other stuff, the other sweets solo, because she doesn't want to have sweets. So I have to do these solo. Anyway, there you go. I'll do one where I twist it and you guys can look at it that way, but this one's going to be a straight up, just look at the cookie, bite it. I'm going to say this about these ones in particular. They should have made it either double stuffed or mega stuffed, because the graham cookie overpowers the frosting or icing, one of the two. What is it, frosting or icing? Oh, cream, right. It overpowers the cream inside of it, because there's not much like chocolate or, I guess, vanilla, considering the closest thing you're going to get to marshmallows. So, anyway, I'll put it back together. By the way, you probably noticed, yeah, I got a haircut. I cut my own hair. Literally, I cut my own hair. I started doing that like 8, 9, 10 years ago to save money on haircuts. Now, if you style your hair, that's on you. You choose to pay who you want to style. Me, I like my hair cut. I actually like it like actually cut. And it's been a while since I've actually buzz cut my hair. You probably haven't realized it much, but I used to leave a little bit of length on my hair, like about, what was it, half an inch at least of hair up here, and maybe like a quarter of an inch down here, all, sideburns, mustache and all that. But weather's warming up, I didn't care. I said, screw it, cut it all off, and I don't have to worry about it for a while. So here's a story for you guys. I went and got my eyes examined back on Friday, last week, because this is going live on Friday. So it was a week ago. Got my eyes checked, and apparently my eyesight's getting a little worse. A little. Apparently, while I was in the waiting room, I noticed something. I was looking straight at me. There was a sign that basically tells you, hey, no cell phones on or anything to prevent people from being disturbed while they're waiting in the waiting room. So I was like, okay, I can read that. And then I look over to my right, and I saw another sign that said the same thing that was further away. I couldn't read it. I literally couldn't read a single thing on it. I knew it's probably got to be the same sign, but I was like, yeah, I can't read that. And you're probably thinking, did you try it without the glasses? Yes, it was even worse. And even way more weirder was that the sign in front of me was blurry too. So by the time I'm noticing this, they call me in, right? They get me sit down, and then they do the whole examining thing. They're like, okay, so we'll check your eyesight and see where it goes. So the technician, apparently, because that's what they're called, made sure my doctor knew that apparently one of my eyes, I don't know which one, went up 3 points. So it's a 0.75 increase in my lens on one side. My doctor sees this, and he's like, okay, I don't know if I should trust this one, but I want to double check this. I want to make sure this is correct. So before he lets me go, he makes sure that, okay, I just want to check to make sure this is correct so I don't give you the wrong lens prescription. So I was like, okay. So he does it again. We do the whole thing again just to double check. As soon as we get done, he says, yeah, they're right. Your eyes are what they're saying. There's a 3-point difference here on one of my eyes. And one of the cool things about actually being in that appointment was that my eyes finally actually cooperated for this one time. Normally they don't like to cooperate when they dilate them and everything. They have to put several because one of them is so sensitive. And it's why I get sensitive. Basically when I'm outside walking, I have to look down because apparently the light around me is so sensitive. I have to look down. I can look up from time to time. Winter's the worst case because the light from the sun reflecting off the snow and bouncing off of it and hitting my eyes just hurts. But yeah, for some reason my eyes cooperated for once this time when they dilated it and numbed it and all that stuff. And I got out no problem. I got one of those little shade things. The cool thing about these things is that there's a film that you basically put behind your glasses, so it sits on these little frames here behind the lens, and they're not like actual like sunglass kind of thing, like plastic sunglass thing that they used to do. These things sit like in front, like behind your lens, while arched on these little they're basically arched like around here, so to speak. Also, years of wearing glasses, I've realized I look better with my glasses on than I do off. Like, I don't look good without glasses on, let's just be honest. But with glasses on, I look a lot better. Appearance-wise. I think, me personally, I got to this mentality where it's like, glasses just look better on me now than they did probably when I was younger. I don't know. And when I was in high school, I used to have trouble wanting to keep wearing glasses. I would rather have them off than rather have them on, and my parents would get at me for that. Now, since I've lived on my own, I've actually been more like mentally. I've actually been realizing, yeah, I need my glasses on at all times, aside from I'm going to bed or taking a shower. Obviously, you don't want to wear your glasses on when you take a shower. Let's be honest. I've done it a couple of times and not realized it. I was like, wait a minute. I have my glasses on. I should take those off. And then going to bed, obviously, don't want them breaking. So, especially me personally, when you toss and turn in your sleep in the middle of the night, don't even realize it. I realized lately, I go to bed, blanket over me, wake up the next morning, blankets all the way underneath of me. I don't know how I do it. It just happens. And I don't even do that. And I don't do that myself in the middle of the night. But somehow it does that when I'm dreaming. Like if I'm in the middle of a dream and I wake up next morning, all of a sudden, how did my blanket get underneath of me? I had it on top of me when I went to sleep. It just happens. Anyway, that's enough story time. Rating on the S'moreos. 7 out of 10. Slightly generous. I was leaning towards a 6.5. But it's Oreos. You got to give it that extra point. You got to give it that extra grade. Because it's Oreos. People will rage and protest in streets and cities saying, why did you give the Oreos a bad grade? Well, here, I'm giving Oreos a good grade here. I'm giving them a generous 7 out of 10. Would be a little higher if I can actually taste the actual cream, the chocolate, and the vanilla. Are a bit better. That's why I said, like, if I were in charge of these, I would have made them either double stuff or mega stuff. And then sell them that way. Then you probably get like, that grime wouldn't be so overpowering. And then you get, like, a good amount of vanilla, marshmallow, and milk chocolate. And that's about it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this food review. Of course, I've been BigLT. I do have more food reviews to do, but sadly, I have to wait till I get my bike filled with, at least I keep saying it that way. My tires on my bike, as you can see over there, filled with air, so I can bike out to Scotty's. Why don't you do it yourself? I've been taught to put air in my bike tires, but I can never do it. I wind up taking air out of it rather than putting it in. So I gotta have other people to help me. And there is a bike shop just like 2 blocks away from me, specializes in that kind of stuff. Last time I had them do it, they blew my tires when I got out. And they blamed it on me. And I had to pay for new tires. So I don't trust them to do that, but I'd rather trust Parker to do it. She lives close by, and she lives right next to a gas station that has an actual tire pump, and she actually checks the PSI in the tires. The bike shop never did that last time, and I watched them. I was not a skeptic about it until like 2 blocks away. What happened? It exploded. Tire exploded. I go back there shortly after and said, "Oh, you probably ran over some glass. We'll have to charge you for it." There was no glass. There was no glass. I would have known if there was glass. I didn't see any glass. There wasn't even a nail. And yet I had to pay for it. Actually, I had to pay part of it. They paid for the inner tube part of it, but I had to pay for the actual rim, or not the rim, the tread, so to speak, the rubber tread. Because when they took the tire apart, they realized, okay, the tread has got a hole in it, and so does the inner tube. But apparently the inner tube's puncture doesn't align with where the tread exploded. So we're making you pay for the tread, but we'll replace the tube. Okay, fine, whatever. But I still had to pay for it, even though they were responsible. They just didn't want to take full responsibility, I guess. So I don't trust them anymore because of that. But anyway, thanks so much for watching the food review. Of course, I'm BigLT, and I'll see you guys next time. You have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.